Control to set their own weight regulation standards beyond state minimum of at least 700 feet from shore and to prohibit enhanced wave creation in waters shallower than at least 30 feet in depth. So the county has, while they have no ability to make law, they have joined with the Wisconsin Counties Association to bring this to the state level in the legislature's ordinance. So that's part of the packet here. I will also disagree respectfully with you when you say that the ordinance is the same one that has been passed around to 30-some communities or however many there are. It is very similar, but we have amended it for Palmyra. So there are differences between it. So respectfully, just disagree on that. The only other thing that I will say is that when it comes to enforcement, as the other two speakers, Jim, etc., have talked about, all of our rules on the lake, and I'll be up front, I'm a lake resident. All of the other rules that we have are pretty much self-policing. Okay? With this ordinance, if it passes, we would also pretty much be doing the same thing, except if the county would engage with us, okay? But it goes beyond that. Without the ordinance, there's no enforcement whatsoever. There's no self-policing without an ordinance, because there just nothing exists. With the ordinance, we are able to self-police. And the other impact is we're not just, this should not be looked at as just for what's going on in 2025. We should be looking at potentially what's going on 3, 5, 10 years from now. Without the ordinance, 5 years from now, and I understand it's hypothetical, there could be 10 reports. And it would be too late to save the lake at that time. If that many, with the ordinance, they can still have the bullets, they just can't use the weight enhancement features of the bullet. So that's fine. Gotcha.
And I've said it from the beginning, my biggest concern with enforcement, self-police or not, is that regardless of speed limits or weight restrictions, we have an authority who has said that they will not enforce the local ordinance, that being the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department. He spoke in person at a meeting January or February. He said point blank, we cannot memorize the ordinances of every single community in the county, and we will not enforce them. That is my concern, is the fallout that comes from a level of expectation that tomorrow this will go away. And I do not believe that this is going to go away because the ordinance can't be enforced. Self-policing is one thing. That's a completely different thing. Self-policing does not necessarily need the stamp of approval of a legal ordinance by the town of Palmyra. The Lake District, as sort of started with this whole process, it was almost 9 months ago when the initial discussion started. And I believe that there was going to be a rule of some kind passed by the district, and it has since gone through the process for an ordinance. But to be quite honest, there is nobody to enforce this, period, which to me says, then what? Then what are we going to do? I understand it's 3 votes. Quite honestly, I don't disagree with the fact that those votes are causing damage or potentially could cause damage to the lake. Quite honestly, no different than the weekend of July 4th. Because I sat on the end of a pier on July 4th and went, holy crap, is this lake stirred up? That wake boat, D3 wake boats, we're not on that lake. So there's an overall concern that I think needs to be looked at from a voting perspective. I'm not a lake owner, lake property owner. Quite frankly, I don't even swim, because I don't. So this is as far removed from my personal vested interest as any topic, quite honestly, could be. And I just don't see that the enforcement of this is going to be something that can be done in a civil type of approach. That's my take. If there's more information about who could enforce it,
Well,
then we can, like,
I will disagree with you on Jefferson County Sheriff's, because I also talked to them, he did tell me that they would enforce it if somebody sent them information. Blaine Paulson, our rep, Palmyra's rep to the Jefferson County board, also spoke with them. He gave Blaine the same information. So obviously there's a follow-up that needs to take place to get the actual story out. But I'll still go back to the self-enforcement. Without the ordinance, there is no. Anyway. I would like to make a motion that the board move forward with a vote on the proposed ordinance 2025-1, ordinance restricting certain artificial wake enhancements.
That was your motion to adopt the ordinance.
I apologize, yes, it is to adopt the ordinance.
I'll second the motion. A motion is made and a second to pass ordinance 2025-1, ordinance restricting certain artificial wake enhancement modes. Is there any further discussion?
question to the point of enforcement, signage, all of that. I've been advised that the Lake District may or may not have signage. But from an enforcement standpoint, when do we find out? Because obviously this goes to the point of the way the ordinance is written is that it would be enforceable upon publication, which is the second question that I have. But to that point, are we looking for follow-up before it gets published? Are we looking for follow-up at some other point in the future? And given that this wholly is up to the town board to decide how, when, how many times this gets published, and if this is a bigger than just the residential proper issue, I think we need to post this not only locally, but in the county paper as well, so that more than just the distribution of the Palmyra enterprise understands that there's now a lake ordinance here.
Yeah.
So those are my two questions, is when do we get to follow up, and would it be amenable to have some clarity on where it's going to be published and how many times?
To answer your question on when it goes into effect, and it goes into, from the Wisconsin Towns Association, town ordinance will become effective the day after posting or publication of some later date if specified in the ordinance by Wisconsin statute 60.80, parentheses 3, village ordinance, so it was on village ordinance. So it'll be after posting. But to your point, this board will have to take up and get quotes for signage. We will post signage of the ordinance like we do other ordinances. And we'll have to purchase those signs and get them up. Your suggestion to publicize it in the county and not just local, I think the Daily Union is our paper to post it. So your suggestion is good, and we'll post it in many places we possibly can.
Signage would take about 6 weeks to count.
But it would go into effect after it's posted, not after signing.
So that's what I'm asking the question. Section 5 says effectively, upon adoption, this ordinance shall take effect the day after publication or posting. That's my question. Is it the publication or is it the posting? If signage is available, theoretically by Thursday, this would be in the union and it could be effective. But if it's publication or posting, that's my question, is which one is it going to be? So that there is absolute clarity when this becomes effective. Is it the day it's in the paper, or 6 weeks after when the signs get put by the boat launch?
It's not on the signs. I will amend my action on this to adoption with proper posting, and that it goes into effect after it's posted and publicized.
We would post it on the website, and we could post on the free posting sites as well as the newspaper.
Right.
So that would be.
Yeah, Josh's question is it after we post it, or if the newspaper can't get in for several days after that? And what I would suggest, and what I just made a motion on, is that we both post and publicize it. And that's when it goes into. Okay. Which would.
After it's posted in the Union? Is that what you're
And
suggesting?
on our websites.
I, the way I took it is that if we get this published Thursday and the signs show up 3 weeks from now, it would be 3 weeks from now when both things have been accomplished.
My motion is on posting and publication, not signing.
Signage will take 6 weeks.
I think posting is not referring to signage. Normal ordinance publications, correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, but posting means putting on the board, websites, doesn't mean having signage.
That's correct.
When would we have that done by?
No later than next week. Couple days.
Motion on the table with a second.
Postings would be approximately, and you would put it in.
Right, I have to give them 2 days notice. I'll take a day or two to get it together. So it should be in by next week.
So again, reiterate, a motion was made to pass ordinance 2025-1, ordinance restricting certain artificial weight enhancements on boats. It doesn't stop the wake boats, folks, from being on the lake. It's just loading them with ballast and using that. First and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Roll call vote.
Martins,
Aye.
Sauter,
Aye.
Gajewski.
Okay.
Approval of town board minutes, 3/10/25 and 3/11/25.
1 second, we're gonna move now to our normal board meeting, so if anybody does not want to stay for that, please feel free. You're more than welcome to all stay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I would call the situation an open situation. We're setting up here. Honestly, it's tough. You ready to go? Okay, we'll start over here. Approval of town board minutes of 3/10/25 and 3/11/25.
Motion to approve as drafted.
Second.
Motion's been made to pass both dates on minutes. And a second, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approve payment of bills as presented.
I make a motion that we approve the payment. Oh, yeah.
All right, We Energies, $474.88. Internal Revenue Service, $2,067.80. Harrison Williams McDonald, $1,060. Northwest Services, $14,800.83. Community Insurance, $6,653. Aegis, $600. Phoenix Sewer Service, $1,058.50. Lang Enterprises, $56.10. LRS, $10,167.01. Wisconsin Towns Association, $1,529.32. Quill office supplies, $377.65. Jefferson County election supplies, $54.60. APG of Southern Wisconsin, $316.59. Village of Palmyra, $62,544.50. Village of Palmyra, $5,000. Village of Palmyra, $3,000. Humane Society of Jefferson County, $280.40. Josh Gajewski, $230.87. Rob Martins, $376.06. Frank Sauter, $369.40. Michelle Smith, $3,329.22. Sandy Murphy, $127.50. Leslie Ott, $217.50. Sue Halser, $90. Dave Demler, $60. Jefferson County Highway, $2,255.90. Margaret Burlingham, $221.25. Mark Montgomery, $114. Terry Orchard, $120. We Energies, $65.56. And First Citizens State Bank, $42. Safety deposit box.
Question, what is the 5 and 2,000 per village for?
5,000 is the park and rec donation that we make annually. 3,000 is for the library.
Any other question, gentlemen? Roll call vote.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Roll call vote.
Second.
Martins,
Aye.
Sauter,
Aye.
Gajewski.
Aye.
Now, public comments, citizen statements should be limited to 3 minutes. Although the public may speak on any item not included on this agenda, the board may not respond or discuss the issue brought forward at the time. In accordance with the open meetings law, the board must notice an item on the agenda to allow for discussion on that matter. Your comments will be considered and may be placed on a future agenda for future discussion. Anybody signed up?
Yeah, I forgot to bring the sign-in sheet.
Well, I'll just open up. Is there anybody that wants to make a public comment?
If you want to speak on an agenda item, is that public comment or wait for the item?
Wait for the item.
Okay, thank you.
No public comment. Any correspondence?
No.
Reports? Treasurer?
The current balance in the general checking account is $222,509.56. The balance in the tax account is $119,851.60. The airport checking account balance is $42,939.87. And the town's balance in the investment pool is $89,710.67.
Any questions on that? Clerk's report.
We finished an election with 670 voters, which we think was a great turnout for the election. There is board of review on May 8th. So far, we don't have any cases, but there's plenty of time. That's about it.
Highway. How you doing, Bob? Yeah. Any questions for this gentleman?
What's that?
Was it pothole time or what is it?
We're red hot into potholing, yes. We're still just finishing up some tree work, but yeah, potholing is gonna be our thing for another month and a half.
What's the deal on the Hooper again?
Yeah, I went and talked to Tyler.
Can everybody just speak up?
Yes.
The room's kind of big, and we're speaking this way, so everybody.
I'm asking about, there's a tree problem on Hooper Road west of Highway E for a farmer.
I did meet with, one of the local farmers, and he does a lot of traffic up and down Hooper, and pointed out all the trees that his machinery keeps hitting and, doing damage to his machinery. Quite a bit, and a lot of oak trees, so something that if you guys want to move on it, we need to move on it like yesterday.
Reason being?
After, I think it's, tomorrow actually, I believe, is the last day of oak cutting. So,
And some of them are oak.
some of those are oaks.
Most of them are.
Yeah. Well, on the west side, there's a lot of maples and stuff in there, but some of the ones that are serious, damage doers to his equipment are oaks. And they definitely need to be done. I estimated that probably, if I send a crew out there with probably 4 people, I should be able to get that done in a little less than a day. But,
Let me interject and ask a question. What if you just cut that stuff to 4-foot lengths and leave it laying?
I cut it and leave it there.
Well, because the guy that lives there and further down on Hooper Road will probably pick him up on that because he's got one of those big.
That would save time for sure. The smaller stuff, I don't think he's gonna want. So we'd end up brushing that anyway. I mean, nobody's gonna want branches. But yeah, that could be done. It saves some time. And like we've done in the past though, if we're taking the time to go out there, you're probably better off dollar for dollar doing an 8-hour day. So if you had something else that you wanted to include in that, you know, I can do it either way. I can work until we're done with that section and call it a day, or we can do the 8 hours, see how we're already out. That's strictly up to you guys.
You got something, Josh?
Yes. Sort of related, but also unrelated, so if you have any other Bob questions.
And the only other thing was potholing. That's kind of where we're moving into right now, so. I did note, on Island Road, there's a couple of real bad spots there that should need attention, and one culvert that's, will knock you out of your seat if you go over it at the posted speed limit. So that's something that should be taken care of right away.
One on Marsh Road like that. I'll tell you that. I did that. That wasn't nice.
The potholing is not gonna be as bad as it has been in years past, because I think the method we're using is working very well. We didn't do an awful lot of snow plowing this year, so that saves them also. So we should be able to move a little bit faster getting through the town.
Well, we've got a medium round that's went up under highway. I'm gonna mention this. We've got people stealing township road signs galore. In fact, they like to cut them off and throw them in my yard. Yeah, some of them. So it is what it is, but I'll tell you what, it's gonna cost us about $2,000 to replace what's going on now.
You have contacted the county sheriff on that.
3 times I've contacted them. I'll ask for some brand new, they're called penguins, put up on culverts on Roland Drive. I get an email from a constituent, and she sent it to me, and something was laying down in my yard. Kind of like that. Sure as heck, I went there to cut off. Those are $200, right? $200. We put them in.
Time to buy it and go and install it.
So somebody seems to think it's real funny, but I'll tell you, they backed up to the Whitewater 7 mile ahead sign on Highway 59 out here. They had to back up with a truck. There's either 4 or 6 lag bolts that hold that on Whitewater 7 miles. So that's the kind of crap that's going on. So.
I would just ask if anybody sees anything. It's probably happening at night, but if anybody sees anything, please give one of us a call or call the county.
You mean help enforce it?
That's stuff.
Sorry.
Hey, the county will enforce that.
No comment.
Anything else, Josh?
Yes, I know it's on our agenda for later for appointing the committees, but depending on how April did or didn't turn out, obviously we're also sitting here. We do have a highway committee spring road tour plan to do kind of 3 things. Number 1, overall general survey. Number 2 is to look at some of these tree issues. And number 3 is to go through and try to help identify patching, no offense to Bob and his crew, but to moderate some of our costs on that as well. So, depending on new business and how that turns out. Above and beyond that, we've been working with the county highway department and Barner Asphalt. The Tamarack paving project, again, that is a LRIP project that we had applied for. Cooperative funding, I'll say, for approximately $31,000. The original bid, or the original estimate, excuse me, was approximately $230,000 to do from village limits out 4,400 feet. The town chose to go with a hot mix asphalt purchase and to have the county do the pulverizing and paving work, similar to what happened on Blue Spring Lake Drive last year. Currently, the pulverizing and HMA bids came in lower than expected. We may be able to see a $20,000 savings off of what was budgeted. And we are currently scheduled for mid to late summer for that work to start. Should have a firmer window on that by the end of this month. But I can also kind of tell you that Tamarack is being used as a very easy detour for Highway 12 right now. Highway 12 is closed between 1267 and 20. Big curve intersection all the way to Highway P. And I can tell you that the amount of traffic that I've seen on Tamarack, Bluff, Young, and Palmyra Road are about 10 times more than what they were a month ago. So we're going to have to do some pretty strategic noticing with the county and probably also with the town of LaGrange to make sure that we can get signage out. No, I have not. I saw one box truck, but it was a moving truck. There's a lot of cars though, cars and trucks.
You know when the 67 or 12 or whatever is supposed to be done?
October 31st. So we will be, knock on wood, we will be in and out and done before they are, which means we're going to have to make sure that we post kind of at the four corners, so to speak, to let people know. Obviously, the village part is a little bit easier. They'll see the signage and hopefully go around. But on the Barner piece of the puzzle, Barner is a company that got the bid last year for crack seal, spray patching, and chip sealing. Currently working on organizing a stockpile location. I have been in correspondence with the airport commission chair and the airport manager about potentially using the old salt shed location to temporarily house the chip material. Additionally, they're also using that as a temporary stockpile of topsoil for the T-hanger project. So 1 out of a dozen years, and we're both looking to use it at the same time. We'll coordinate contractors and see if we can. If not, we're going to have to do some homework and find a spot that can hold approximately 40 triaxles full of chip material. As a reminder, Young Road, here's the list. Young Road, Highway H to Tamarack. Tamarack from Young towards the village. Zion Road from Highway 59 to Pine Drive. All of Pine Drive. All of Parkview Circle. All of South Shore Drive. And all of North Blue Spring Lake Drive, except for the triangle part we just did last year. Are all on crackfill. Some of it did not get crackfill last year. It ran out of weather. But it is all on the chip seal list for this year. So, hope to have a schedule from Barner within the next 3 to 5 weeks. Obviously, pending stockpile location. Dependingly, if everything plays well, I'm hoping to have info for both of these and to host a public information meeting for anybody who has questions ahead of time. End quote.
Guess I don't have any. Highway D, as you know, is closed from 106 to 18. I was told by Sean, County Highway August is when they're gonna do the other end. That's probably when they're gonna do the so. Okay, moving ahead. Mike Darcy got a hold of the fire chief and said he wouldn't be here tonight. Did he send you
Run numbers?
run numbers?
I think his assistant sent him a little bit ago.
We'll get the numbers out next month.
The run numbers spring through March were distributed. Yeah, April. We are also, Mr. Harrington and I spoke, we are forwarding a new format of run numbers that will break down the equipment utilized on each run. That was a request we've heard to tell you exactly whether an ambulance went out the door, an ambulance, and a fire truck, to help people understand more what's going into the town and the village. So you will have that coming your way monthly.
I forgot you were back there.
And I tried camouflage, but who doesn't know me?
No, I just want, when you're done with fire department, I want to ask. Right, then what I would add is, we've had a couple of negotiation sessions with the village on the new fire and EMS contract. That'll start kicking into gear a little bit more substantively now that the referendum is passed. Sorry, the date of the referendum passed, unfortunately didn't pass for the village. So, in talking with Chief back there, Tim, my counterpart for the village, who's negotiating with me, should have a lot of numbers for me this Thursday in my meeting with them, and we'll just go from there.
Okay. Airport. Well, the key hangar is going up. Okay, finally. I did attend a meeting about airports this last week, and I will tell you that possibly, underlying the word possibly, it looks like there's ARPA money and another fund too that may be available for the airport from 1/1/20 to present. Some of the things actually end. One of them ends 8/22 and one is 1/26. Such things, if we qualify, are simple operations at airport, repairs, like $4,000 more repair bill we had last year. And fuel, there's a bunch of things, okay? I will tell you that Al Borey and I, he's the chairperson, he and I will have to work on that. That's not Michelle's job, or anybody else's on the board really to do that, so. That's all I have. Airport. Blue Spring Lake.
Well, we've used Jewel in the past to write some grant paperwork for us. Are they able to assist with airports, or would somebody else be able to help them write grants as well?
I'm not sure if they would or not. Yeah, it's just curious. I don't know if they go aeronautic.
I did email one of the directors from the BOA that was there, and she's going to get back to me. Anything else? Blue Spring Lake District.
Don't think I need to recap what just happened, so we get past the ordinance, so that's all I have.
Building inspector.
I do not yet have this report, so no information in that at the moment.
Emergency management plan. Nothing on that. Chief, when's that next meeting with the school, you know?
Maybe.
Oh, thank you, Terry.
Thanks, Chief.
Because I wouldn't have known, so thank you. Now I can look smart.
Okay, very good. Sheriff's Department. Where's the sheriff? Out patrolling, hopefully on Tamarack Road, where there's a lot of traffic. No sheriff's report.